welcome in. Welcome. Listen, if you are new here, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. So, today I want to talk to y'all about you being more powerful than you think. Okay? You are a very powerful being. Let me just say that to start. And I don't think we realize just how powerful we are, right? So I was sitting there reflecting, or should I say thinking, right? Because it's Think Tank Tuesday. So we just go, that came from me thinking, okay? But I was sitting there thinking, and I'm like, God, like, what is it? What is the main problem that we have as a people, right? Well, for me, I'm speaking for myself, but it's relatable, okay? Which is, y'all want me to tell y'all? Listen, it's gonna hurt for me to say this, but it's coming from my heart. It's been a long time coming. And we done been fell apart. I really wanna work this out, and I ain't gonna change. I don't think that we should go our separate ways. You can't go your separate ways, but listen, this is what I was thinking. A lot of times we don't consciously think. And when I say consciously think, I mean on a deep level thinking, okay? So when I look back and reflect on my day, because I was thinking about the day, and then it started having me think about the whole week, and then it made me think about this whole month, right? Blink twice, and this month it's gonna be February. All right, so forever someday. Nah, but seriously, we don't think on a conscious level, and everything that we do day to day is habitual. So we subconsciously move about. It's kind of like when you in a car, you're going home from work, and somehow you look up and you appear to be in your home. You know what I mean? Like, how did I get here so fast? God is good. Blessings to you. You say you better sign. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, um, you know how you end up home because you've been in your head, but you wasn't consciously thinking about how to get to where you at. So you look up and you at your destination or home, wherever you at, wherever you're going. So we habitually do things, so it causes us not to have to think. Our day-to-day routine is so habitual that we just go about it effortlessly. We just move about without thinking about what we're gonna do. We get up and it's a routine. And anytime you try to add something new to your routine, you have to consciously implement it into your schedule until it becomes a habit, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, what is this? Not thinking properly, right? Not consciously thinking. And then when we do have to think, it's usually from an emotional place where our ego gets in the way, and our ego wants to be justified and satisfied because um, it don't want to be hurt, right? It don't want to be bruised. So instead, we can't think logically or think, supernaturally, spiritually, or what have you. And it causes us to mess up on some things, okay? Not pass tests and all of that. But you got to be aware. And it's because it's, different experiences that I've had this week and encounters and stuff, right? So I was looking at the fact of how being detached from things can help you to assess situations a little bit differently and to be able to consciously see when experiences happen to you, like, okay, this is how you move about, right? But you get in your feelings if you are attached to expectations and certain outcomes. And when I look at the story of Jesus, right, a lot of the times Jesus often was speaking to the crowds and he would heal the people, but he was speaking to their mind. He was like their thoughts, okay? The thought process was like they wasn't using it, and that's where your power is. You have power from your thoughts, because whatever you think is what you're going to receive in life, right? So when he left, when he went back to his childhood church when he became an adult, and he seen like, nah, this ain't how it's supposed to go. This ain't how the system's supposed to be set up, the structure, you know what I mean? uh because they were being misled to think that they needed a middleman to get to God, right? But they are so powerful that he said, no, you don't need no middleman. You don't go to the Father for yourself. When you go to God for yourself, you hold that power. That's just how powerful you are and how blessed you are. God even said in his word that we are his children. We are part of him. We're no outsiders. So you got direct access to God. But if you're going to God from an emotional place, that's your ego. You have to go to God from a spiritual place. And one thing about it is you hold the keys to your kingdom of heaven. Nobody else holds those keys but you, right? And that's your power. You got to use it. You got to unlock that spiritual place in your head, your kingdom of heaven, by thinking consciously about everything in life. All of the decisions that you're making, thinking consciously from your own perspective. You got to know who you're talking to in your head, or who's talking to you in your head, so that you can know how to respond. Is it God or is it your ego? Right? Because your ego wants to take captive over, it wants to take over your spirit, but you have to put that flesh under submission. You got to put that ego under submission anytime you walking in God. Anytime you want to operate in God and let God use you, you got to tell that ego, this ain't how it's about to go, right? So, y'all, I was just reflecting on a lot of stuff. And we really got to get to thinking, using our superpower, using it so that we can speak the right words out of our mouth to bring in what it is that we desire, to manifest what it is that we want, to call things to be as though they're not, right? Or call things that are not to be as in the spirit, from the spiritual realm to the physical realm. We got to call it down. And in order to properly call the things down that you want in your life, you have to consciously be aware of what it is that you're even thinking. And if it's a thought that you don't resonate with, then you need to cast it down, and you have to get into a place where you got to understand this. No matter what, you are on an assignment. You shouldn't be attached to anything. You shouldn't expect certain outcomes from no situation, so that you can think from a logical place. Because when you're reacting to something from your emotions or your ego, that's exactly what you're doing, reacting, right? And when you react, you're thinking fight or flight syndrome, and you want to get out of it. But when you're thinking from a logical place, now you're able to make decisions that are actually beneficial for you, right? And even with doing anything, learning something new, you have to consciously be aware of what it is that you're learning. You have to be consciously aware of maybe what you need to learn, or maybe what you want to learn. So using your thoughts to bring in whatever it is that you desire, right? Using your words, because you only going to speak what you think. Out of the heart, out of the mouth flows what's in your heart, right? So be consciously aware of what exactly it is that you're thinking. And even if you have to, sometimes you got to become present with yourself and just start making sure that because you're doing something habitually, start paying attention to it. Once you start paying attention, you'll realize that, number one, you can find more time in your day. Number two, you will have less stress, because you're aware and you understand that I'm a vessel of God, and I'm on assignment. And no matter what may happen or what may come up, I am being used by God, whether it's you getting tested or you being the test to someone else. So you don't have to worry about whatever the outcome gonna be, because at the end of the day, it's God's will be done, right? Not our own personal will, but God's will be done. And that's why we're on assignment to fulfill His will, not our own personal will. And hey, Adriana. But yeah, so that's how you get to that, consciously thinking about what it is that you want, where you are, being real with yourself about your thoughts, about where you are in life, not deceiving yourself. A lot of times when we deceive ourselves, that's really our ego trying to help us, right? And to cover our ego, our sin. That's the sin right there. And so when Jesus went into the temple and tore it down, he was pretty upset, right, y'all? He was very upset because the people of God was really being deceived, right? What was it, the Christians or whatever they was? They was being deceived by the pastors, the leaders, and they were steady in their ego. And I'm gonna tell you one trick about that. Being in a church and you go up for altar call, right? You are sharing your most secret place, which is your prayers. I've never went to an altar call to get delivered from something and confessing that sin. You know what I mean? But it's always, what is your prayer? And so naturally, because we don't want to be vulnerable, we always say what we praying for. We want this, we want that. We never say what we want to be delivered or set free from, right? And that's how your prayers get blocked, because number one, you don't believe that you already have what it is that you're asking for, or you don't believe that you can attain it. So you go in prayer, and then number two, you telling your secret, and now it's getting, you don't know if they're going to block it, if they're going to talk against it, talk negative, go spread the word. And wow, that just made me think about the Catholics, of how they got that curtain set up so you don't know who's spreading your business. Let me stop. You got somebody behind the curtain and they get all your prayers and you don't know what's going on. You wonder why your prayers ain't been answered. And it's because these behind the curtain. Oh, love. But no, we gotta deal with our sins. Stop keeping your sins a secret, or stop keeping your ego. That's what you're not dealing with. Deal with the ego and keep your prayers a secret. Go to God. You got direct communication to God to answer every single prayer. You don't have to ask any outside person to pray for you, right? It would be good if you know that their intentions and their heart was good, but just to be sure, and so, wow. Y'all. When Jesus was going to the people and they were asking, what you doing? You doing the devil's work. You not doing nothing for the Lord. You're deceiving the people. The people was so caught up in Jesus being the light and shining that light on their dark spaces and places and their egos. They didn't want to be seen naked. They didn't want to go on naked and afraid, y'all. They didn't want to be naked at all. They wanted to keep hiding behind that ego. So they turned Jesus over to be crucified and chose the murderer to go free, because they didn't want to get out of their ego. That programming, that habitual programming that you learn for years and years and years and settled in, and you've been conditioned to hide the very thing that you're supposed to be getting set free from, right? And when you get set free from it, guess what? It releases any attachments to you feeling like, okay, I got to prove people right. I got to be, everybody got to be okay with what you say, do, or think, or what have you. You waiting for other people to be okay with what you do. And that's not being who you supposed to be, right? That's being who they want you to be. So you don't need that validation no more once you let that ego go. That enemy within, right? That's the devil. But they was willing to turn Jesus over to be crucified in order for this murderer to be set free because they didn't want to be exposed of the truth, the way, the truth, and the life, right? Okay, so then we fast forward to slavery. Mm. And even through slavery, there was chains mentally put in people's head because you had some that looked at their freedom and they thought about their future and the outcome if they broke free and I could just have a chance at life, at freedom, at being out of bondage. Oh my goodness. Hey, Jamil. And it was like the ones that stayed behind and didn't want to be free, they were too afraid. We got to get out of that scary place where we're too afraid to go for something that is going to help us, to set us free, to be delivered from the ego. So they wanted to stay in captivity because they were afraid of what was on the other side of their deliverance. They didn't want to think about what a life of freedom would look like. So they got as many as they could, right? They freed as many slaves as they could. And is that why Kanye got crucified when he stood up there and said he could free more people if only they knew that they were slaves in bondage? Y'all, this remind me of this dog we used to have, right? So let me tell y'all about this dog we used to have growing up. This dog used to always break off the chain, okay? He was off the chain himself, but he's always break free off this chain. And every time this dog broke free, he would go chase a squirrel or whatever he saw, a bird, whatever. He would go chase it and he would let you know, I am free. Well, this one particular day, we didn't know when he got broke free because the dog stayed by the stake. And it wasn't until we came outside that the dog came running up to us to let us know that, hey, I miss y'all. But we didn't hear the chain popping, right? So that means that the chain was already popped. And the dog had been set free. But he chose to make that place, this my home. I don't want to be set free. I don't want to go on about my way, run away, or nothing. He didn't want to. He was content right in making that place he was at his permanent home. Sometimes places that we are in life is temporary, but we choose to make it our permanent home because we are too afraid of what freedom looks like on the other side. We are too afraid of being our authentic self. We are too afraid of being set free from the things that's holding us back. The ego is keeping you from living a life that you truly desire, that you would love, to be at peace, to have a sound mind, to be stress-free, because we are too caught up in pleasing the ego, which is satisfying other people, which is satisfying its own fleshly desires. Because when you are walking in your own truth, you don't care what nobody say. Long as God is okay with what you're doing, it don't matter who else has something to say about you, right? And that's the freedom that we should be aiming for, right? And I don't think Kanye was really talking about we slaves that's bound to physical chains. But what he say? We could set more people free if only they knew they were slaves. However he said it. Y'all know what he said. Go find it or research it or YouTube it or whatever, Google. But you get the gist of what I'm saying, right? Sometimes we are living in bondage because of our ego, not wanting to be bruised. But you are so much more powerful than your ego. All you have to do is put it under subjection. You tell that ego what to do. So when your head start in your head, them voices that you hear in your head, when they start talking to you, you can respond accordingly because you'll know if it's really coming from God or if it's coming from your ego. And when it's coming from your ego, you need to holler back at it and be like, hey, not today, Satan. Because that's the Satan for real. That's the person, that's the one that's sitting up there telling you those evil thoughts, trying to stay comfortable and snuggly because they don't want to be naked and afraid. But you have the power to call down anything you want. You have the power to tread over serpents and scorpions. If that ain't power, tell me what is. And that's the serpent and the scorpions, the ones that's in your head, other people's head with the ego. Okay? Them is the serpents and the scorpions. The ones that come to deceive you, that want to be the middleman between you and God. You have direct access. And that is your superpower. And that is far greater than gold. Your father owned a mansion on many hills. Hey, twin, where have you been? Nobody knows me like you do. All right, but yeah. Take your power back. And you take your power back by bringing your ego under subjection and letting it know who gonna be in charge. Your spirit man is gonna be in charge of this here ride. Because if anything else, if you anytime you get offended or you get upset or you're hurt or anything, that's ego. And once you learn how to control that ego, you are unstoppable, undefeatable. Can't nobody hurt you, nothing. You ever been in a position in life where you had to be vulnerable? You had to walk and hold your head up high, no matter what the situation was or how people was gonna look at you and laugh at you, and you knew they was talking about you behind your back or what have you. And you walk up with your head held high because at the end of the day, it's about God's will. It's not about what they think about you, and in spite of, you still gonna do what you gotta do. You still gonna show up for yourself. You still gonna do it. Baby, you are powerful. More powerful than you can ever think. Okay? So put your mind to good use and start consciously thinking about things. Be aware of everything in your life on a day-to-day level, minute by minute level. I don't care how small it may seem. Today I was on a call and I was waiting for the representative, right, to pick up the phone, right? And so while I was waiting, I found a way to habit stack to create more time. Something as small as that, where you take your power back. You're not just sitting there waiting on somebody to come to the phone. You're doing something else in the process, right? Take your power back. And taking your power back is how you become the best version of yourself. How you be able to pull things out of the atmosphere, right? Bring things in from the spirit realm into the physical realm because you're not coming from an emotional place where you're wondering about other people's opinions, where you're afraid of the outcome. You're not afraid of the outcome. You are afraid of other people's opinions. You are afraid of nobody being there to hold your hand. When God is right there, He's been there all along. All you need is you and God on this journey, baby. And anybody He brings into your path is merely an assignment. No matter whether it's an assignment for the good or whatever. However you being used, you're on assignment for God. And anything that God brings into your life, it's going to work for the good of those who love the Lord. So you have to just understand that nothing is working against you. Everything is working for you, right? And everything is a test, right? Whether you're being tested or the person is being tested. But at the end of the day, it's kind of both parties be tested, right? And on the other side of that is your blessing. The very things that you be wanting on the other side of passing those tests, just by understanding that you are on assignment. Okay? Don't let nobody tell you how you should think, what you should do, what you should wear, where you should go. how you should feel, it ain't none of their business, right? The hardest part about the business is minding your own. So you man your own business. Don't worry about what they gonna think, cause you really don't know what they thinking anyway. Cause you ain't inside their head, and they gonna tell you the truth if you ask them. So just focus on making you happy. Focus on pleasing you. Put you first for once in your life. You know, I was in a relationship, right? And that relationship taught me a lot of lessons. But the one main lesson that relationship taught me, because I used to always go around pointing the finger. You a liar. Oh, you a liar. Why you always lying? But guess what, y'all? The whole truth of the matter was this. The only reason I was being triggered by a liar was because I was lying and deceiving myself about walking in my own true authenticity, because I didn't have to deal with that, for one, right? If I was walking in my own truth, I wouldn't deal with a liar to begin with, right? I wouldn't accept a liar's behavior over there, you know? And once I came to that realization, gotta go. Okay? Gotta go. But I was lying to myself. And once I became consciously aware that I was putting myself on the back burner, I was lying about really being happy. I was lying about really putting myself first, because I wasn't putting myself first. I was putting other people first. I was putting a relationship first. I was putting an outside liar first, because I didn't want to deal with the inside lie that I was living in, right? So if you see me sit up here and say something about a narcissist, I don't really deal with the narcissist thing too much. Because if you deal with a narcissist, like if I dealt with a person that had those tendencies, those traits of a narcissist, which is controlling, conceited, proud, boastful, manipulative, right? Those are the traits of a narcissist. And if I'm being true and honest with myself, those were the traits that I was carrying within myself. Because if I was looking at somebody else as being a narcissist, then I was mad because I couldn't control them the way that I wanted to control them. That's manipulation. Huh? All of that come from ego. It's no such thing as narcissist. It's a person operating in their ego. And anytime I get offended because someone else chooses to walk in their ego, then I'm walking in mine. Whoop, 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 whoop. Y'all listen, that was a word for me, because I'm telling you, when the way that I used to be into the narcissist thing, like, oh, okay, yeah, narcissist, yeah, them narcissists. I had to take a look at myself, take some accountability, baby. Woo! Girl, that's you. You said, glad other people think about this. It gives fruition to a lot of stuff going on in relationship nowadays. Yes. Yes. Everything outside of us is a reflection of what's going on inside of us that we really don't want to deal with. So instead of us looking at the finger that we point, we should be looking at them three that's pointing right back to us. We should be going within and seeing, why is this triggering me so bad? What is it that I have to work on in me, on the inside of me, to get this thing to change? Why am I accepting this type of behavior from an outside person? What is it that I'm neglecting about myself, or not being real about with myself? I got to sit down with myself. So that's why it's really important for us to start our day with God. When you start your day in the morning with God, baby, it's so important, because you can be deceived by the things that take place throughout the day. And it's so easy to do this, because experiences is happening on the outside of us, but the triggers is within. And our emotions can cause us to see something a certain way that may not even be there to begin with. We can be thinking that somebody thinking about listen, we could be thinking that people is thinking about us in passing. And then people be in their head just as much as we be in ours. They don't be they be worried about the same thing we worried about, and we sitting up there worried about what they thinking about. Oh, Lord. Everybody is covering themselves because they don't want to be naked. Oh, Lord Jesus, don't let nobody see me. Don't let nobody see me. I don't want them to expose me. Oh, no. But in all actuality, that's how you take your power back. You walk in your power. Stand in your power. That's how you get up and you stomp on that devil's head every single day because you let him know, devil, you ain't going to have no authority over me today. Huh? See, sometimes we be sitting up here believing in stuff, thinking we believe in stuff. Subconsciously, we think we do. But consciously, we really don't be believing in what we say we believe in, huh? We think that the devil got more power than God. The devil ain't got more power. Let me see. Hold on. I don't know if y'all can still hear me, but hold on. Turn my Wi-Fi off. But seriously, can y'all hear me good? Because it did say reconnecting. Take your power back. Walk in your power. Walk boldly. Ain't that what God said? Walk boldly in your power. And your power is the ability to think. Sound mind. Everything in the Bible is talking to you about you, your mind, changing and renewing your thoughts every single day. You have to wake up with a renewed mind. Whether you have to change your perspective, whether you have to get some empathy to understand other people's perspective, situation, or why they may have responded to you a certain way. Whatever it is, whatever you feel like outcomes that you think didn't work out for your good, when you look down the road, once you get to the future, you'll realize that it all worked out for your good and you don't know why you was tripping over that anyway. But you never really thought about it because as soon as you got out of that situation, it was something else for you to go think about, overthink about. We go from situation to situation. As soon as that's done and over with, we be like, woo, okay. And then next thing you know, oh, another one. Here goes another one. Here goes something else. And we be right back there, going through the same thing, repeating the process unconsciously. And that's how we're bringing more things into our life, attracting it into our life that we really don't want because we ain't got time to consciously think and reflect. So starting your day with God gives you a chance to reflect and to think about the things consciously on a conscious level, right? Because what's going to happen is once your brain go through this process where, the conscious mind going to take the information in, right? And it's going to decipher what to keep and what to throw out and what to send to the subconscious mind, right? And if your emotions, your ego is in the way, then your ego's going to start latching on to stuff. Say, I want to be offended by that. Oh, I want to be hurt by that. Oh, I want to be mad about that. And then your ego take over, and before you know it, your spirit man in the background like, man, dude, we on assignment. And your ego like, nah, but I don't care. I ain't like that. I felt like I was slighted. That would be, and in the spirit, your spirit man be like, oh really, huh? And so that's how you feel, slighted. Don't you know this God's will? And be like, I don't care, it might be God's will, but no, you ain't gonna make me look crazy. You ain't gonna have me out here. No, they trying to test me. It be a war going on the inside of your head. I'm telling you. So you got to become emotionally intelligent. You got to start learning how to manage your emotions, right? You got to start learning how to use that thinking. Start using your brain on a conscious level where you can decipher. And in the beginning, it may be a little frustrating because you're going to slip into areas where it's habitual, right? So you naturally going to go into it, but then you'll catch yourself and then you'll be like, nah. And then once you realize you get out of it, what's going to happen is you're going to get another trigger, right? By an outside person, place, or thing. It's going to trigger you again, but then you're going to be like, wait, was that me? That was I don't even like that no more. Now you become sensitive to it because you done went through it, you done overcame it, and now you done formed a new habit of thinking consciously, and you like, that ain't even me no more. I don't even want that in my presence no more. So you start being real with yourself because you're thinking from a conscious level. You're using your power. You're understanding that this world, if this world were mine, what it say? 7:45. Where it fly? Fly. I like that remake. But yeah. So take your power back. I don't care what you say. What nobody say. Don't worry about what they say. It don't even matter what they don't even exist, okay? Only existence is you and God, okay? And as long as you know you're on assignment and you are going to fulfill God's will, baby, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. So go ahead and get your hands a little dirty and be on assignment for the Lord and really allow God to work in your life because he's working it out for your good. And that harvest, baby, ooh, when that harvest come through for you, guess what's going to happen? You ain't got to suffer for it. You ain't got to chase it. You ain't got to stress over it. You ain't got to none of that. You ain't even got to bend to other people's rules for it, okay? Because this coming straight from the Lord. See, other people want you to bow down to them, right? They want you to go. They want you to do stuff for them on their account so they can give it to you and take it away from you too. Oh no, baby, not God. When God do it, as long as you doing His will, He ain't about to throw it in your face. What was that? Like that man on that commercial. He was like, oh, with the fishing rod. Oh, you got to be quicker than that. Dangling it all in your face. You ain't going to let nobody dangle nothing in your face now because you're thinking consciously with your head and you're allowing your spirit man to control that flesh, that ego, right? So ain't no more dangling nothing over your head from people, places, things, or whatever, okay, in life. But the power is your mind. Your mind being renewed every single day. You walking in a sound mind and you calling out the things that you want into this realm. That's your power. Using your thoughts to the best of your ability. Thinking, right? And also meditating on God's word. Because sometimes we can say God's word and we can say we believe it. And when that heart starts speaking, we really don't believe what we be saying. We really don't. So let's get to a place where we believe what God is saying about us. Huh? What did God declare and say about you? He said you are powerful. You're the apple of his eye. Why are you allowing your ego to treat you as anything other than such? Huh? Huh? My royal family? You better sit pretty, huh? And allow God to do his work. Get out of God's business and handle the things that you can control. And the one thing that God gave you dominion over to control was your mind. Right. That's what you can control. Your mind. Your mental state. You have full control over that. You can't control outside circumstances and anything that may happen. That's God's business. But the thing that he gave you dominion over, you have to use it and have full control over it to be able to get whatever it is that you desire out of this life, for being on assignment for the Lord, for being a willing vessel for God, right? So make sure that y'all use y'all mind consciously. Y'all think about who is talking to you inside of your head. Is it God or is it your ego? Huh? Don't let no outside forces think that you got to go to them or through them to get to God. You have direct access to him above. You have direct access to communicate to the one who created you. That's your power. And can't nobody take that from you but your ego. Either way, let's grow.